Give me a second. Okay, there's the video. I was on the dashboard just getting room on there so I can see if I get any chats. And I didn't see any video. It's a 20-second delay, so yeah, pretty early for me. Got a thing, trying to get in a routine. What was I gonna do today? I had two reminders on here about a month ago, and I set them. They seemed really important. A state reading. Why is that one so different? Yesterday I had an arraignment hearing for someone in the morning, and I forget why that one was so interesting, or at least it seemed like it. Then I didn't go to that one. I went to an accident called an arraignment when I cut off my other stream, and I was streaming on Twitch when I looked at the clock and remembered there was a custody issue, custody dispute, and it was like set for late in the day, so I went down and watched that. It gets heated. It gets heated. Well, tense, really. Like as an observer, I don't know what's going on. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Worried about abuse and things like that. And some people just say really like their foster kids. There's one in this coming month that's farther away. That's the emancipation of a child, and that way the child can be adopted by the, I'm assuming, fosters. I'm feeling a little bit better. Well, living the life of an alcoholic, it wouldn't be like absurd if you will say that I'm an alcoholic. So I'm not suing it for custody of anything. And back and forth. And a Bible study on a Tuesday. Waiting for anyway, I've been talking to the only family member really that talks to me is my younger brother. He gets tired of me. However, as I saw in the custody hearing and things, still that one involved family. Ooh, Windows 10 support has ended and how to stay protected. Upgrade to new Windows 11. I was going to title this "I don't understand the update" because they have a thing that a little feature. It's like update the stream key, but with a name, a unique name. Or I don't know if it needs to be unique at all. I've typed in so many things on the stream key. When I went to reset the stream key, it said all streams of this stream key will be ended. I put it, I up that I streamed that like days ago. Turn on Windows backup. And just trying to worry about all the data stored in clouds or on hard drives is ooh, that's a lot. I'm really I'm upset. I had this older Motorola phone, and it runs out of space quickly. So I was trying to do a file transfer my pictures off there, and as I was transferring, the phone screen timed out. This is set at a real low thing, right? So I turn it, so I get the screen turned back on. Well, interrupt the file transfer. So I had to highlight, select all, uh, cut, and then paste it into the other computer's folder. So it's doing its transfer for just a few like less than a minute, maybe less than 30 seconds, and the phone timed out. I mean, the screen safe. So I'm saying, oh, okay. Enter my little code in to unlock the phone. It interrupted the file transfer, so files didn't transfer, but they aren't on my phone. But they don't show on the phone. The storage is the same. So the pictures are there, but just not accessible. And it made me so upset. Like those are my history. There's so much in the history that is forgotten, except with like last night, traumatic. So I was fascinated with walking back and seeing if I could imitate like an orangutan or something. The walk I've used before is just watching my shadow from in front of me, from the light behind, and I got back and I made it myself again. Well, it's kind of like like the Bible study. Once you get in this around people who are in the same wavelength or in the same, so it's being like trying to be with humility and humble. I saw a map, and I touched on this in my when I was rambling yesterday evening. A map, like the terrestrial map of the United States. And boy, I had no idea. Like from the west side of the country, probably look at the Mississippi. It's like desert. And I went back to Salt Lake City a few years ago, and I was watching the news, and they're just taking down so many orch trees, and there's bulldozing them. And then I went into the gas station yesterday because we get weekly news, and the news, and he mentioned it was like paper, the newspaper published the newspaper. And I'm looking at this map, and I'm thinking about all these old books I've collected. Demand for more. So when Spain was Islamic for what was it, 900 years or something, 800. Well, apparently they collapsed pretty bad, and they said it was the Moors. People like the Berbers and the Moors, the same thing. People like so 800 years is a pretty good run. How great was it for the average person? I think life is pretty great right up until you get these. I prayed this morning. I haven't been praying for a while, and there's like, please lead me not in temptation, but deliver me from evil. I didn't. The other thing that went along with looking at this overhead map of the satellite image view of the United States was, or the western side, eastern actually, no western. Just that's the way I was brought up. I'm sure somebody else has maps and with the stuff. It's cattle ranches. There was a big moment years ago, and kind of like watching this news where the FBI was they were trying to get this group called Bundy's to pay leasing fees for grazing rights. They just well then again it's the thing they don't recognize that as federal land. That's just the land. Well, their land, right? Might have been theirs from before the Nevada became a state. Anyway, you look at the cattle ranching. Well, people, I like the beef, and then we have so many more people. So just all that land where our cattle good for the environment, bad for the environment. I mean, every single choice, every single choice that I have is like a moral consequence, like a butterfly effect. Hard to explain butterfly effect for people that haven't well, little decisions that vastly alternate or alter course to future reality. Trying to find events that affected ours. There is something as like, can a butterfly flapping its wings, you know, cause a hurricane? The butterfly flapping its wings somewhere. It is a beautiful saying. I just don't have the words for it. But can a butterfly cause a hurricane? So Prince Charles III. There's more to that title than just that. No, King Charles. King Charles III. Uh, gave a speech at Congress years ago. That would have been like such big news. Well, I'm over here on the West Coast because a couple hundred years ago, more than that, some people on the East Coast um, decided to secede from. Now, the numbers I heard were like a third of the people, well, only about like 3% of the people were actually engaged in fighting. But then of those left, a third were well, a third were for it, a third were against it, a third was like didn't care to be like. It was a I don't know. I don't even know who my landlord is really. We get to this point where these are such like a holding company with the project with a property manager instead of an actual owner of it. Oh yeah, I've been confessing like left and right to people who like want me to. I got so many people playing that I got a secret game on like my background, and I'm like, I have too many sins, dude. And like arguments with this guy, and I just can't because his personality is such. And again, I can see where that leads people, has led people. He's trying to come back from psychosis big time. Not gonna say psychosis, just an awareness of over punishment. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, guy explained to me he's had one wife, she died, and later on he got a fiance, but she was like, so he's had one wife and one fiance. I haven't asked him about details of other things. Um, I worked with a lot of well experiences. See, I've never had a wife of my own, unless each like by laws of spiritual and biblical things, each carnal knowledge is a marriage, and the other things, the thoughts from like 14, about age like about well, I don't know if I would have been incarnated in the particular time place that I was if it not what if it wasn't for a long karmatic line of just seeking for more liberalism. And by that I mean, well, I don't know what I mean, but I do, or just opportunity. Maybe it's opportunity and hunger. No chatters. It's pretty normal. I'm gonna change my clothes and shower. I think I'm on. Let's see, I did shower. Let's see, I showered when? Did I sleep in this on Sunday? It's like five. Day five. I was exaggerate. Well, day five of wearing the clothes. anyway, one of those guys that's completely destroyed their father's life. They talked to some about how no, what kind of kids didn't ruin your life. My younger brother, the one who was in an accident, we were talking one day, and he was just being honest. He was talking about how much he like, it wasn't permanent, but he had this feeling, this one motive that he like his daughter that he hated her because she took away his opportunity to be a rock star. He loved her so much. He was just expressing that. It's like hard. It's really hard. Could you imagine me with a kid? Could you imagine if I had to support a kid? I was in the chair. I tried to. Yeah, we were from one of those families. We're perfect socialists. You know, we don't have a family to help. Like what drives a person for this reason or that reason. Well, I guess it's a natural state of thing. If you can't afford a kid, don't have one, right? And like I was saying, I was talking to this person uh, that I can just very difficult. Figures that I'm close enough to his like. Anyway, it could be my dad. It's a personality, characteristics, behavior. My dad, the one that I grew up with, he's taller. He's a bit different. It's so much alike. This, there's a question that I think Jesus asked in a parable or something. Am I my brother's keeper? What about fathers? Yeah, I don't check my emails often. So many newsletters, and they're not spam, but it's newsletters and updates and mailing lists. I came across one in it was an unread one I got from this back and forth. I was hoping that there's a streamer on YouTube that watched pretty much. Again, this is going back to 24. Streaming more. Very and I was hoping to just do like a radio interview, like not radio. What do you call it? I don't have a podcast. Everything made podcasts. I don't use podcast software. Still, it's a live internet show. I just wanted to just get somebody. It's an excuse to talk. It's an excuse to talk coherent. To be able to ask me a question, I'll answer it. Once upon a time, when Devin Stack first introduced you to his community of I don't know, call it political identity, just frustration. Oh yes, what can unite left and right and things like that. Just the beatings, the situation. And if you look like someone, and you're like, the first time, I'm like, hey, I went to school with you, college. You're in political science class. Was that you? Took so much, Ruby. You look so much like this girl I had. I just one of those first, just you're pretty and you talk to me. I think the girls are all smart. So maybe you weren't smart because you talked to me. But anyway, we had a kind of the issue is over desperate, thirsty, clinging men. So I completely understand that someplace you might have had a doppelganger. I think it's a shared experience, ladies. I think you have shared experiences. But I mean, I see this email and she's surviving. She's like very vulnerable, lives alone, has death threats. I've sent some death threats. I Yeah, I mean, I said threats. I can't remember all of the things I've said online. Is that frustration come at me? And then it's Ben Thorpe. It's like a giant dude. Oh, yeah. So I do this kind of. Mhm. Back in 2015, things had become very tense in our family, and I was having a conversation with my dad, and he kind of had choked up and started talking to me about when he was in the. He said he had a really good friend. It wasn't somebody highly respected. And my dad, without a, because he had thought about staying in. He was on a good career track. And my dad he was on a good career track. And then culture shifted. They're like, you can't smoke marijuana. It's like, I think I'll get out. And then he went back home. I don't know a timeline. Probably like about 2 years. Right? I got back home for about 2 years when he met my mother. And he often says he understands my situation. Because he also didn't get to go on a vacation or relax. It was right to work. The stuff that happened so many years ago. Well, that led to me and my brothers. Well, there's my reminder for the state of TT. Why did that one sound so appealing to go to? About 2 years ago, I was going every Thursday morning to sit in the courtroom, watch the state readings. Well, theoretically, over the past 20, 10 to 20 years, and I think when COVID hit, it really accelerated the state readings. I didn't even think about that. But you're in a lockdown. I was locked out of the country. Millions of people died. That's millions of states. That's millions of you go in and they were shut in. They suffered, died of COVID alone. What do you do with all that stuff? Legally, there are certain processes. Get these waves of donation over at the thrift stores. We're talking about cursed objects. Well, does becoming religious lead to superstition? Does it lead to superstition? But then again, if you just take it in different, more philosophical uh, thought, conscience. See, most everything that I have, I acquired from the used place. Really, some of the only new objects I have here is this futon I got from Walmart. That was in August of. in August of 2023, I have this, I have that little chair that I got over at Dollar General because it was like very nostalgic. Other than that, TV was like $35, and then that electric fireplace that I've never used, that was what I would use. I don't know if I ever bought some hats. The black hat was what I purchased new. The little fedora, the tan fedora, and the red, whatever that one's called. Those I got used at thrift stores. Yeah, the globes, the table, the chair, almost everything. I separated the stuff I purchased new from stuff that was used. Like the current destruction for overconsumption. I went new. I went new. I went new. Oh, this is old. Why do you buy it in the first place? Well, the tables are convenient. Oh, conveniences. Then again, if we were like, I don't know what's in the woods. It's well, if we don't have the energy of meat eaters, what meat eaters showed up? I just don't know how it works. People tried to disappear into the forests and jungles and have little utopian communities. They say it's like Return to Monkey. I mean, aren't we weak monkeys? Maybe like bottom of the food chain again. There is the beast of the wild yonder. So the beginning of 2015, I found myself on yet another healing journey. Another healing journey. I ran away from this like really, really weird living arrangement. It was scary. I had a friend and she was a single mother. It was just we'd hang out, not very often. It was like once, twice a year, sometimes for a couple of days. And it's one of those things. And then one day we were chatting on texting and Facebook, and she was like, "We should move in together." I don't know how to do a modern like. Are we dating? Are we dating? Remember, you're going back to I was talking to about this guy who he's a widower and he tried to get remarried. That emotionally failed. So he's a very distraught, lovesick man. And then he's in very financial dire situations. A lot of people are. Look at me and they talk about how much money I have. In which where I come from, it's absolutely true. But in the internet world, where people hear like billions, trillions, let's see, a million is a thousandth of a trillion. So you need to have of a billion. So you'd need to have 1 million. Okay, that's a million dollars. $1 million times 1 million. I think that's maybe 100. No, we're doing this mind-boggling math. Okay, I don't know if I even have a penny of that. But then again, those are just I had more money than my dad ever could have dreamed of. I mean, he probably dreamt of it. We got in a fight once. It's 2008. It very frustrating because he wanted more help from me, right? Financially, just help. Because sometimes living with someone and doing things and taking them to where they need to go, driving from grounds help. So you want us to cohabitate, that get a place where my brothers could like wouldn't have to worry about sleeping on the streets, all this type of family centric stuff, keeping us together. I wanted to go get my own place and space and freedom for more of the stuff that got us here. Weren't more worried about getting the dick wet than the survival of your family. I don't know why I refuse to say, oh yeah, that's right. That would be a past statement. I'm not more worried about that than the survival of well, hatred. Like just when I was when I was on a different healing trip, which some people would say is selfish, disappeared for 6 months. 6 month vacation, who gets that? And to top it off, I was able to find restaurants, um, nice lodgings, go explore lots of different places, and cost of living is different. And so I was down there on the healing part of the journey. The old man was just basically covered in lost snakes, and you're like, why? I was like, what? Like, yeah, you're white. When you walk down the street, people shoot little poison negative darts and stuff. They just shoot psychic hatred at you. They think of how good your life must be. It's just that's just the way it's the suffering. Well, they don't have socialism the way we have socialism. Government benefits here, government benefits there. You have to work every day and not traveling, having vacations and restaurants and stuff. But I'm up here and it's the same thing. People have nicer stuff. They have cars, um, and still the, the psychic hate. I wonder if other Christians are having the same screwing dilemma. When Christians are so popular that that doesn't seem like they can agree on the rules. They're nice people, I suppose. Just the behaviors and just the behaviors. You get a room full of us together and ask about. Okay, well, there's the old thing. Let's get on the same page here. Do we eat pork? Do we not eat pork? There are other animals. Actually, very interesting. There are certain birds. There's a list where that comes from. The hood and club. That'd be so interesting. That'd be so interesting to go back through that one again. Because it wouldn't be piggies. There are other things that are forbidden from eating. Well, if all of a sudden we had a list of banned animals, then I think a lot of people taking us off the shelf. Well, was it still on here? Should I read some article from the Sacramento News Review from back in the day? It was it was just it was an expose historical thing, about when Sacramento had a cannibal cafe up in uh up in Nevada. They had a none of yeah, well, it would have been Nevada at one point. Was in California side of where they exactly the border, and this thing is it's like the cannibal bookstore. That was in this area that my roommate wanted to return to. No chatters. I just like on a wall. I used to work in like the camera field, setting up systems. So I work in a workstation. And I had like little boxes, and it's they're always on, except like I mean sometimes there's zero feed. Just pop up, and they're like, sell 2K421. For whatever reason, that's a line that I just remember from seeing Star Wars in movie theater. TK421, come in, can you hear me? TK421, come in. Well, I know movies much better than the Bible. That's the whole thing about becoming at this we're worried about the immortal soul and oh my goodness. Just the regular legal system. I don't know how many orders I've disobeyed. I don't have anybody around me that can't take blue check marks. Not on Twitter anymore. Or they have like updates from the. And that was a big thing when the government started doing their own official social media accounts. Oh, that's official. That's official Department of Defense. That's official. So this department. If those social media managers do anything like the other kids. Okay, 805. I will not go to your state reading. It's not my estate. I think I'm just trying to get back into that whole going to the where I'm from. It's an open court system. You know, you can go and you can observe. It's like going to court looking for people. Hey, do I know you? Do I know you? Once the embarrassment of being at court is over, I suppose this they seem pretty nice. Just dealing with angry people every day. Well, not every day. We're coming through a big wave, so maybe the COVID turned us all into criminals. Breaking quarantine here, not wearing a mask there, showing up and it's like sort of big gatherings. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting the discussion on true numbers. I mean, that'd be pretty silly to be demanding more papers, more newspapers, and they run out for us. The news, oh, we can't, we don't have the final edition. Sorry, what would have been? We have no more trees. Wait, the entire ecosystem, the entire forest is gone. Yep, a bunch of starving bears and cougars, mountain lions. Yeah, their ecosystem's gone. Oh, wait, what does that have to do with news? It's like the advent of technology, that overhead view of how really desert it is. Because in my mind, there's like the United States is just lush and green all the way across. Like of course there's more forest. Like I don't know how to go. If you come over to this place where I live and you look around, this was all forest at one point. This is all forest. Like how big were the trees? Well, if you go, if like this shoot in the modern world where I used to have a car, you go for like a couple hours and go see, whoa, those are really impressive trees. Now, of course, you leave that alone. It's stuff to talk about. Well, you talk about decisions, why we're making decisions. There's a person who lived in this thing. It's really weird to be such a traveler. I was born in Salt Lake City. My parents, we moved back and forth between Salt Lake and Sacramento, California, a couple times before I was like 7 or 8. My dad made a permanent move out to Sacramento with his wife, my mother, and my two younger brothers in like the early '83, and then I was there until '94. No, it's '83. Yeah, that's like 11 years. And then I went in the Navy. I gotta go take a tram around Chicago on like Thanksgiving evening or something. Uh, and then off to Orlando to Charleston, South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina, back to Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City to Sacramento, from Sacramento to Kuwait. Well, like from Sacramento, because then I got my involuntary recall thing for the 9/11, and from Sacramento, I won't get base right now. I'm just trying in my head drawing lines. So from Sacramento to Williamsburg. No, Williamsburg was later. Sacramento, well, Norfolk. Yeah, Sacramento, Norfolk. No, where was because we demobbed at Fort Wayne. Maybe mobilized there too. Anyway, we went someplace to mobilize. Maybe it was Port Wayne. And then we went to Kuwait. Uh, then we went to Iraq. I think that was in all we started out at. Broke up the battalion in different locations. Then after that, back to Wyoming, back to Sacramento. Did I work that year? I sat around, a little crazy. Um, I then went to San Diego for school. Then went back to Sacramento. Many of these places are just for a very brief period of time. And Sacramento, oh yeah, then I got a job at the port. So I did work for like a year and a half from like late 2007 to it was late 2006. Yeah, 2006 to 2008. And then I took a volunteered for things. I wasn't my situation. I wasn't. It just trying to support like that was a year. Yeah, that was a year I got argued with my dad, and it was a very hurtful one because he needed money, and I told him I only had $1,000 in my bank account, and he was like, "That's $1,000 more than I have." It was like boom. I could sit down and do the math and explain why these plans won't work out. You know, so like telling a person he can't get a job. Even at that state, he's like the state of the person down down a little trailer place around from me. 55 years old and have no. It's like get a job, old man. So yeah, I remember when he was like, "That's $1,000 more than I have." Then I took a deployment to where I was able to save up like $26,000. To save up like $20,000 in less than a year. But that only happened when I would deploy. Like I was back. Now those were no active duty. I made even more money as a civilian contractor using those job skills. But they're in demand for like war. No war, and all of a sudden it's like you got all the guys like me unemployed complaining about things. It, it's a contradiction, isn't it? Like waiting for that big military parade. Time to go as the years roll on. People tuned off the whole Iran and these cheer on these hearings. It's like these. Oh my goodness, where's that? What's going on? We have a lot of Iranians and well, their relatives and everything, and they're just like, yeah, they're replacing. Well, about 20 years ago, the Muslims were replacing Christianity. I think they're probably just like trying to get some coherent. Like, what are your rules? What are your rules? Because if you look at Old Testament rules, they're slightly different. I think the thing that stands out is shellfish. And does that change from time to time? Well, there's some different researchers that talk about our food source. I mean, different tribes. What was I? Yeah, I saw a little thing. I was reading. I was just going down through a dictionary, and I was coming across a thing. I was like, Greek. Greek. I misread Greek. A creek is Greek. I was like, oh, wait a second. Something that I need to look for is it just in that asking people. I guess you could ask the AI or something. However, the AI, to my knowledge, does not go out and do the work. So I think people who are supposed to be doing the work really should have a conversation to understand history. That other thing about the western portion of the United States is how many dams. Oh, there's an army, and that slow moving industrial army has been going out west for a while. You look at our railroads, Union Pacific, Southern Pacific. Think about it. Think about it. Union Pacific, Southern Pacific. My history book said that the Civil War was over in like 1864 or something. However, these people live differently in different locations. We have all these like wonderful cars. We could so fast. Well, someone can. I don't know. I shouldn't use we like that. But they say we only three people have a. Or some people say it's a saying. The only three people are allowed to use we when speaking. Heads of state, schizophrenic people, and pregnant women. And I'm not a head of the state, so if schizophrenia is like people who like their moods and stuff change and they have problems functioning. Like I said, I would just love to have people talk to. This is our this one conversation I really get. This is very much the only conversation that I can have. I make small talk with waiters. That's why I'm like, bar, just every with the staff at different places. You know, as long as I'm giving money, but this is the most I get to talk to anybody. If somebody says I have a therapist, Dr. Jordan's lying. He's actually doing more damage. When you have a therapist that's trying to prove that the person that they're therapizing is like, see how messed up he is? Oh, I'm sorry, Jim. What else do you go through? Imagine having an actor for a therapist. Imagine having like freaking actor for a therapist, like a famous one. You know, the thing we haven't brought up, Doctor John, is like Terry or somebody. Well, apparently, at the height of Russell Crowe's fame, when he made a Gladiator, he had trouble getting $200 to go home. So I suppose these people aren't, they're famous. But that would explain a lot. That would explain a lot, Dr. Jordan. Yeah. It's like, well, I've recently become quite acquainted with acting, like not to break the fourth wall. And I have suspicions about modern movies. There was one I was on AFN. It was like was I watching on a so this movie it takes place. I don't remember the name of it. No, it's a set in current it's a modern war movie or modern. So it takes place in like Somalia, and they've hired this like half Kenyan, half Somalian dude. Who apparently they Somalia and Kenya have like really bad conflicts with tribes. So he's a half breed. And he's like one of those. So so he's working with the British, and his job is to operate his little insect drone, right? That these little insect drones, and the camera on it's really good. So he kind of has to be really close to the building where he flies his insect drone into, and then it uploads a feed to like a British and NATO war room. They're trying to get this terrorist or a guy he's selling a suicide vest or he's buying a suicide vest, and so they're monitoring the suicide uh, bombers. Those used to be a big thing, and so they want to drone strike this place uh, at the same time, not have a bunch of casualties and stuff. It's assassination, but they have video evidence. And it's a hot. It's not a like I don't know their legal system there. So we have so if they have those little things. Why not make movies with them? That way people weren't really like. Well, they're more authentic, isn't it? Like who's a better actor, you playing yourself or somebody studying you and trying to play you? I wonder what the status of Amish country is. I was out there. My ex girlfriend was you're old. She's my friend. And I don't know if we got access to Twitter DMs, got access to Twitter DMs, and like just got the took a text file and turned it into a book. This ongoing conversation set over 5 years. It's like 5 years of texting all day long from waking up to going to bed. That's how often we communicated. I was overseas. I was overseas between Iraq and Afghanistan, mostly in Iraq. I got a promotion. They flew me out to help close down Afghanistan, and I came home. Well, in that time, lockdowns and COVID had been going on, and stress. I complain about my stress. My goodness. So I still have money to live off of. As long as people will still work for money, and they do. However, the things that it buys, was it by deforestation? Again, I've been streaming for an hour. I don't know how long I usually do Facebooks for. I wonder if I just spent all day deleting newsletters and things. I've had a little bit of luck using Facebook recently. Like Facebook, really, when Facebook came along and started moving away from emails, because I have like people I email back and forth with. I have some really cool. I haven't done one of those, but I downloaded my email archives and my primary email accounts onto like a free version of Microsoft Outlook. That is a really thing with all the free software. Like, would you donate? No. Okay. You want us to publish this? What was it? Open Office. I used to have a program called Open Office, and it was free, right? It worked just as well as Word for me. Open Office, Excel, Open Office. And so instead of like doing the Microsoft thing, I was using Open Office. Of all the things I've written, all the things I've written in my life, I've only written that I can remember one erotic story, and then send it I, anyway, I thought better of it. I deleted it. It's somewhere in Open Office has a version of it. Hey, remember when you were gonna send that to that lady? I'm like, yeah. There are a lot of good. I mean, I was in that world for a while. Like, I think it's more healthy. Um, for recovery. At least that's the path I took. Instead of looking at images, I just read the stories. My first foray, see, it's old. See, that type of writing has actually been around. You just had to go look for it. It's called red light districts. The bookshop in the red light district. I have a magazine here. It's very reminiscent. I don't know the generation now. See, it's like getting generations together. Yeah, that used to be one of the things is a young man's first porn where he hid it. Oh, they have a Playboy. I don't know, you get Playboy that pictures of naked ladies, and I guess there are articles in there as well. And they have like little penthouse was I think oh I forgot the penthouse existed. Hustler. There must have been quite a few. I hope you don't mind if I openly talk about that type of stuff. It's important to know the formation of my character. Fortunately, I grew up in the. Fortunately, I became a young man during the formation of the growth of the internet for the mass public. So that way, I didn't have to hide it anywhere. It was just right here online. Oh yeah, when it in 2000, 2009. Let's see, October. When did we move up? Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it was late 2008 to 2000, mid 2009. We had a station. Oh yeah, Camp Deering. That made the news. That's supposedly the place that Iran struck. Camp Deering. So Camp Deering is off in the Kuwait desert, like in the middle of the desert. They don't have they have to have water trucked in and stuff like that. It's in such an inhospitable place that have like well anyway, it was chosen for various reasons. That's one of them. And now it's just filled with tents. Like how many tens of thousands? I don't know the maximum occupancy. I've got a little history of it when we were there, but during like 2004 period, years before, it was just that's where troops going to Iraq. They just they troops would go from Kuwait and they would stay at this huge, sprawling desert complex of tents and temporary structures and well some hardened ones. These are hundreds of thousands of soldiers going in, and that's also where they came to stay when they were leaving. You know, it's got 100,000 troops in Iraq, and that primary point of entry is from Camp Deering. We don't have that many troops in Iraq. That thing must be like a ghost town. Just the MWR in the USO, the DFAC, he was holding on. Something, you know, depending on your life, something about memories, memories of being there, in the food. That's one of the things about the soldiers, or the young military guys, maybe the older ones as well. Those places, they don't their equivalent doesn't exist in the civilian world. A place you can go and just hang out, watch TV, play pool, get snacks, get video games, a movie room, just a hangout place. It was like the ending of an era. I think the longer people sit around and think about things, the more they're like whether they're active or not. Like I said, the period 1700s, either they're loyalists to the crown, people who want to break away from that evil that tyrannical system, and people who really just like I don't know. There is a I've heard I haven't actually read that book all the way through. Apparently, there's a Democracy in America by Alec de Tocqueville, and it's a French guy because the back in Europe they thought the colonies in their new form, their new government would collapse, and they'd be begging them to reunite. And so so he's like a French aristocrat, and they're like, America hasn't collapsed yet. What's going on? And so he came over to America to find out, and he was talking to. He said what really impressed him was when he was talking to farmers. 99% of the farmers were literate. They were literate, and they could tell them exactly how the government worked, like the one in Washington D.C. because it's the same model they used in all over the place. It's this civil government come together, and well, they're literate. I suppose that's not such the case in Europe. Could be that the year keeps driving their hardest workers out. Uh, yeah, it's like saying that the ones who fled were the good ones. I don't know. I was looking at Wikipedia, and for some reason it was like a list of King Henrys. Like Google search, right? I was like whatever I searched for, it brought up list of Henrys. Interesting. I'm reminded of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Uh, this Cornish movie. Yeah, right. And so it's the king and his the knights of the round table, and they're on a quest. They go through. I am your king. The king. Yeah, I ain't king. Yeah, it's a constitutionally based democrat. Anyway, whatever kind when they explain like their form of government in the village and chase their king away. Or maybe he just got tired and rode off. Whatever. 8:39 Pacific Standard Time. April 30, 2020, 2026. Oh, the dates. I think we come to the point in history, or as historical students, we were like on our self study journey. We're finally coming to a realization. What was it? I have my little almanac, and I came to the list of years, right? Oh, oh my goodness. You said something fun. Oh man. No, if the deforestation is to be believed, and it will be the last one that gets published. Now there are people who made local almanacs. Almanac. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here it is. This is the holidays and observances. Next one. Oh, May 1st, Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month begins. Well, so anyway, let's start with the youngest first. Oh my goodness! Happy New Year, Bahai 183. They have enough of clout to be officially recognized in this thing. Officially recognized by the Old Farmer's Almanac, Robert B. Thomas, founded in 1792, number 300, 234. So Bahia, their New Year began on March 20th. I wonder if they have what their calendar looks like. Oh, Islamic. Maybe that's Gira. Maybe they have like year in parentheses. It's just Islamic, right? Is that another term or something that Hagera, year 1448, and their New Year began on June 6th. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that will move. Like, so next year it will be like June 5th or something. Did I have it right? Because they're like the Jewish year begins at sundown. Both the Jewish and Islamic calendars have day begins at night. It's when I came back. It was, good morning, good evening, especially with our new communications. Where I used to be able to be on Skype and I'd be talking to my dad. We'd have like 11-hour time difference. I'd be good morning would be my evening and stuff. Anyway, well, if you have ever been to certain regions, it's like best to work at night. So yeah, they'd be day sleepers. Oh my goodness, Jewish and Islamic day sleepers. So, well, Islamic, the Hejra is 1448. Their new year begins on June 16th. Jewish, it then says 8 a.m. in parentheses, A dot M dot. And that says year begins at sundown. Yeah, year begins at sundown. Day will be September 11th. Ooh, so I jumped up here. And but their year is 5,787. So look, getting all these different calendars and checking them. There's so many people. It's so useless to argue about the year now. So the thing I heard yesterday was there sometimes it makes more like this is American. When we do month first, then in the middle day, and then the year. All my notes and things like that, but I'll transpose them because it makes more sense to have the day for. Eh, Never mind, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, it would if we were all sitting in the same place and I have to describe these abstract concepts. Okay, now next after now moving on up, because I've only done the first two. Well, I jumped up to the second oldest. The third youngest religion recognized by the Old Parmesan is Diocletian. I have no idea what Diocletian is, and we're in the year 1743. Year 1743 of Diocletian, and their new year begins September 11th. Now, fourth, fourth, fourth youngest, Indian. It says Saka in parentheses. So that's not Hindu. It doesn't say Hindu. Actually, looking here, I don't see any Buddhist. There's no Buddhist. There's no Hindu. There's no Zoroastrian. Ones that I haven't. So the Indian, but these are calendars. Okay, these are calendars. You got to remember that. These will be regional calendars. Indian, Saka, year 1948, March 22nd, and their year began. Oh, so their new year also began just over about a week ago. Just a little tad over a week ago. Then the next up, moving on up after Indian parentheses Saka, we have the Grecian calendar. What does the Grecian calendar say? 2000. We are in the year 2338. Oh, there's some controversy here. Because over here it says their new year will begin. The year 2339 will begin September 14th or October 14th. So there's some confusion. Now, Japanese, oh my goodness, the Japanese calendar, the year 2686. Oh, their new year begins on January 1st also. Now, now older than Japanese, we have Nebo Nasser, the Nebo Nasser calendar, year 2775. And there's, oh, we're in April. I was saying March. Like, okay, so there, the Baha'i and the Indian Saka, they actually started last month. We're entering April. So a week ago, it was the year. Oh boy, the solution to 1776 is 2,776. Yep, the year 2,776 on the Nabo Nassar calendar will begin April 23rd, or began April 23rd. Now moving on up from there, we have the Roman calendar, parentheses AUC. And the Romans, well, there's a few. Let me see, these Japanese is really interesting. There's a tight little thing here of there's only 4 year difference between the Roman and Nabonassar. See, Rome. Where Rome began the year 2780 on January 14. Okay, above that. See, I like this. You know, research this little these ones in the 2000s. So we have, oh my goodness, this you know how many hours of fun we could have with this? Like everything I say says to year 2026. I don't see a calendar listed on this thing that's the year 2026. So wait, what 1792 are we talking about here, Mr. Thomas? The Chinese New Year? Okay, well that was February 17th. I kind of vaguely remember that. It's where you have Chinese. It gets it's fun. Chinese, and then that parentheses lunar. Do they have one that's not lunar? Because the Jewish in the Islamic, they used to think are all. Bahari also begins. Bahai also begins at sundown. Yeah, I guess the Chinese lunar. It says, and then they have special in brackets says we're in the year of the horse. But I don't know if that changed. You see, when this was released, it hadn't been February 17th by this calendar. So the Chinese calendar is the lunar one, was in the year of the horse, 4,724 years. Um, February 7th began, and okay, I need to do more reading on this. See, is that the year we're entering? So that's probably what it means. That February 17th Chinese lunar calendar entered the year of the horse. I think 4,724. Then we got the Jews. I mean the Jewish one, and that's at year 5,787. That began September 11th. I think that so we're still at 5,786, and then we have the Byzantine, and that is 7,535, and that begins September 14th. Now there's probably a lot of these researchers. Mm-hmm. There was this. Oh, they have a special set aside here. Like above it, it says chronological cycles, and it says Dominical letter D, expect 11, golden number, in parentheses lunar cycle, 13, Roman indiction 4, solar cycle, in parentheses Julian calendar 19, year of Julian period 6,739. So yeah, they don't have they don't have the Gregorian on here. They have the Julian, but I thought Julian was Byzantine. Uh, well, when it comes to like keeping track of time and rotations of the Earth, revolutions. Wait, no, it should be revolutions around the sun and rotation of the axis, revolution around the axis and rotation around the sun. Well, the day versus the year. But apparently, there are some people who've been doing this a long time. Well, have you ever watched Star Trek? They have like star dates, and they have the star dates that are different. But then again, when we're dealing with highly educated people, most of my life, I thought there was just one calendar. That's the one that my laptop's set to. See, these are the kind of arguments we need to learn that I need to learn to have. Like, are you late? So at least some of the arguments might have gotten people interested. There's some arguments that aren't worth having, and one of those arguments is talking about the time, the day. Like argue about it. Good talk about it. Gone are the days where you're just like, well, when the sun is about directly overhead, we meet over there at that tree yonder, over by the ball. You bring your stock, and I'll bring my stock. We just got a fresh little layer, little piglets. Oh, well, you don't buy those type of stocks. Oh well. Hey, how Bessie doing? There's bartering and trade. So it's very interesting. We have a lot of other things in here, like other things supported an advertisement. Bars by country carpenters. It was funny as you look at these things. Like, well, it's a good storage place for a mint vehicle. Shade farming, shades of gray. Near Bymore, Alberta, ranchers Terry and Brad Mappin rotationally graze their Hereford Angus cattle cross Angle cattle on 3,500 acres. 3,500 acres. Having experienced extreme drought, 3 inches of rain fell in 2023 and about twice that in 2024. Mm. They have transitioned away from traditional prairie crops such as canola. So they used to grow canola and wheat. Um, include onion grasses and legumes colored occasionally. Well, anyway, to move to keto, I'll tell you, like, what year was it I restarted keto? Like 2016, going to the like low carb. So yeah, they transitioned away. It's probably because we transitioned away. So I became more of a protein beef eat, meat and vegetables. Worked really well, but I'm not the only one. All the transitions. Yeah, it's just once a business person doesn't know the future, I can't see the trend lines. I used to be a subscriber to the Trends Journal by Gerald Clemente. They had a lot of very interesting. It was his analysis. I know that whole stock market version of things was coming undone. The giant public schools, well, government and corporation. The merger of government and corporation. Neither of them seemed very popular. Like the people on the government side were anti. Wait, those some capitalist government corporations trying to hide, and then the corporations like, get away from me, G-man. Stop telling me what to do. And now they're united. Now it's like there's now that's like that like Mussolini. They said Mussolini's the description of fascism. They said it's a merger of corporation and state, right? Because depending on who you work for, most people are either corporation or a state. Even mom and pop shops, were required to do some sort of form like incorporating as a business. So even the tiny ones are so now the government and the corporations are coming together in their united stand against the worker Do I work? Is my paycheck? Is it a government paycheck? Is it a private enterprise? I don't know. Is a corporate? Do I get a corporate check or a government check? I don't get either right now. Yeah, I don't know how to tell folks. They're expecting billions of payouts. Well, maybe we can handle deflation. I'll show you something. Reusing. I try to reuse things instead of throwing things out. Coins, coins. When I was reading, when I was reading Mormonism Unveiled, the Life and Confessions I forget, it says late Bishop John D. Lee, or Bishop John D. Lee, or just John D. Lee, late Mormon bishop, or late bishop of the church. Oh, I don't remember the exact title. Anyway, so I got this book that was published in 1876, and it was a confession thing about, a little biography of a brief biography of his life leading up to, well, he became bishop and was the one convicted of the Mountains Meadow massacre. Like, it was a raiding party that like killed what they considered an illegal settlement. So, so there's a point in there where he was talking about, he touched a little bit on inflation, I think. He talked about buying a house for 50 cents, which is like two quarters. So back in like the 1850s, a house could be purchased for two quarters. Oh, all right. I'm gonna. Do I have food anywhere? I don't think I do. Oh, I have some French fries. All right. I'm feeling better. Thank you. I just like to talk and have conversations, and obviously there's nobody on here. Um, that's just where we are. This is just where I am. Just hanging out, just doxing myself continually. Dox, dox, dox. Well, we used to have phone books. That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. We had phone books. And it had people's addresses and the phone number. You just like, all right, now nobody, now it's like it's hiding. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, all right. I bid you adieu. Until next time.